Check podcasts.
The Bread and Butter Collective is a collection of hospitality professionals working together to help strengthen our industry to build strong culture, community, and sustainability.
I'm Calen McNeil.
And I'm Sam Jones. And this is the Bread and Butter Podcast.
Welcome to the Bread and Butter Podcast. Hey, Sam.
Calen, what a pleasure, as always.
How are you? And it's just you and me.
I know, right? We got the whole podcast.
Guest canceled at the last minute. We'll say that.
But Obama canceled
at
the last minute. We
tried to get Rogan on, but he
did say he was going to be. I think they couldn't get him across the border.
Yeah. It was like some old drug charge or something.
I don't know how old it was.
With the slander. We'll be soon.
Yeah, well, Joe's coming after us, I'm sure.
How are you? How's your week been?
A little stressful, but not bad.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on? Do you want to talk about it?
It's the same old bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, there was supposed to be a beep in the background. Yeah. It's just the same old thing.
Yeah.
You just don't know what's going on.
Tight,
margins tight,
costs are going up, costs going up.
People are going on vacation.
Yeah.
Things are always flexible.
Yeah.
In business, and in flux. Right? And in flux.
There's always, especially in our industry, because I'm thinking about time. So I had this import business years ago, and there was never a time where you felt, relaxed, because you're dealing with suppliers, like these big box stores that weren't paying you in time, demanding, wanting you to invest a bunch of stuff, and then you're going and dealing with Asian suppliers, and then they were in the same boat, like delay in delivery, they'd make a mistake, and all these cost overruns, and then the Canadian dollar would go up, and all your as soon as you thought your margins were good, the dollar would fluctuate, so now the margins were bad, because there'd be a 3-month sales cycle by the time you got the PO, you ordered, you paid, right. And then all the money in the current where you could sell it for was different, because then the supplier's like, well, I'm not paying that because of this or whatever. Anyway, so you're never feeling, at one moment when the Canadian dollar was like really strong, then all the prices dropped. So I was we finally get margins. And by the time the 3-month cycle got there, when you're actually, the money goes out and the money you get paid, the dollar was, prices had dropped through the floor. So then you didn't get any of the margin.
Was the price drop a direct result of the dollar going up?
Because then people, they're not dumb either, the suppliers. So you sell them something at a certain price, and then you'd be like, okay, my margin is like, in those industries, it's very small, like tight margins. So maybe you're looking at 15% or something. And then all of a sudden you're buying it because you pay in US dollars up front. Right. So whatever the currency is there. So 3 months go by. And so you're like, you sell that once, you get that one order in at that price. Mm-hmm. But then because the dollar has gotten so strong, everybody else has adjusted their prices down. So now people that are trying to take your business and compete against you are dropping their prices faster than you can. You think you're going to be, maybe we'll get 6 months of this gravy train. No, it lasts like one order, maybe. And then all of a sudden now you've got to adjust your prices down because you're buying it better. So you never get to keep it, because they get to keep it. And that's why the box stores, and as a vendor, a supplier in that business, you're never, like, unless you have a product where your margin is like crazy, like nobody else has it, everybody wants it, and you could dictate the price. It's like they're coming to you and say, hey, we want your product because everybody's demanding it. Mm-hmm. But I was in a commodity thing where, one widget versus the other widget doesn't really matter, right? Yeah. So that's where, and you look at our industry, it's kind of a little similar. Like, obviously, people have their favorite spot to go get coffee or go get burgers or Italian food or whatever. So you can leverage that, and you got your loyal customers. But trying to get new customers and trying to convince, and it's the competition. They're like, well, I have a salad. Say they like salad. I have a salad over here. I have a salad over there. And they're both using the same ingredients, and they're both good. And it's kind of like, well, there's not a lot of points of difference in certain products, and they got to get fed. So whether they eat at home or eat out at a restaurant isn't really, it's maybe mood based, but it's not, there is no control on our part. Right.
And you're right when you have products that are so much alike It comes down to like where a person
Yeah,
wants to go or where
yeah.
they're used to going.
That's right.
And
Is it a part of their routine?
Yeah.
Do they like the server? Do they like the owners? Do they like the vibe? Or they want to try a new spot? Like some people will just keep trying new spots. I'm a creature of habit.
I am too. And I feel bad about it because there's places that I haven't tried yet.
Yeah.
And I'd like to try them all. But,
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and maybe, like to try to explore different options and put yourself out there in those. But if I like something, that's why when we do our menus at both Zambrie's and Big Wheel, I'm always like, okay, well, 80% of your customers are kind of just those same people that come back all the time. They're creatures of habit. They like what they like. And if you change it, they're going to just wig out. But there's some businesses, some restaurants that change their menu all the time, and that's kind of their novelty.
Right.
But I've always talked, like the creative chef will always want to be creative and adapt and try new things. But the customer's habits, majority of people are, I call them the Walmart crowd, where they just want to go to Walmart. They would know they're going to get the best price. They just are going there. They don't really care about, that you've got this like artichoke from the valley and this region that only grows it once a year, whatever.
Right.
Like just that whole, they don't care because they just I want to have a burger. I want to have this, and this is what I like.
I want my loaf of bread, quart of milk, and a stick of butter.
Yeah. And they're just, and it's great. I mean, there's only like 10% of your customers are going to be the ones that, you can cater to that way. But if you build your whole business plan on that 10%, you're going to be missing the mom and pa 80% that want consistency, want the same items on there. So if you change it, like we kept our steak at Zambrie's forever, and they've just changed. So we've had the same steak on our menu for 25 years.
Wow, that's really aged.
Yeah, it's aged beef. But we've had the same style. Like, here's how we do it. This is what we do. And people loved it. And we took it off once and put this other one on, and people revolted.
Oh no.
So, and I was just like, why do you take this off? Like, for me, if I go, like, I have like 3 or 4 restaurants that I frequent regularly.
Yeah.
So, and I guess the same for coffee shops, right? Like I drink coffee at your place. I'll drink coffee at Habit, more to support Shane, but also where it is, like it's right beside Zambrie's, so it's convenient. But I won't go. I never go to Cafe Fantastico, for example. I mean, their coffee's good, but I just don't. That's not a part of my routine, not a part of my habit, and all that stuff. So those will drive your decisions. So if you remove that, and people know, oh, I can't get it anymore. Like all of a sudden they're going to just go back to what they know they can get and consistent, and they'll have 2 or 3 spots that they go, and they'll say, oh, I wish they didn't take that off the menu. Oh, and then that's where you kind of, because now you're affecting 70% of your customers instead of capturing that 10% or 5% that like change and all that. That's not going to pay your bills.
No, it certainly won't. What they say in Victoria is that in the hospitality industry, it takes 3 years for a business to make it or not.
Yeah.
Right. But it takes the average Victorian 5 years to try something new.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's a mismatch.
It's a mismatch. Yeah. And it's part of that is the familiarity, the routine, all of what you just said.
Well, and then you also have so that's the, then you got people stay in a certain area for 5 to 7 years. So then you've got 30% of the people move, right? Yeah. So then you've got these new people that are coming in that are, you've got to try to capture their attention.
Right.
So you have all these timing, and it's math really, like how long somebody's going to be there, how long it takes for them to try a new spot. Then once you've got that customer, how long do you get them? And then if 30% of them are moving constantly, like they're moving locations. So once somebody leaves their area, the routines change, because now all of a sudden, am I going to go back to that same spot that I've always gone to? Maybe, depending on where you go, but you have the mobility factor of people. Like they're like, oh, I can't afford to live in Victoria anymore. I'm going to move. So then they're in Courtenay, and then you lose that customer forever almost.
Unless you build a burger joint in Courtenay.
Yeah. But then you starting from scratch.
How do you advertise to, or how do you attract that 10% that moves in and is 30% that's changing,
you gotta,
right?
Yeah, you got to stay relevant. You got to be consistent, and I think that's where consistency breeds the repeat nature of it. Like if you
Right.
just serve constantly good product and you're speaking to that crowd, you obviously got to stay fresh to attract attention. Like people, oh, I haven't tried that. Let me try. Give them a reason to come. But consistency. Have you know, that's even with competition. So if, you know, like Joe and Peter are always like not afraid of competition. That's not the right word, but there always this feeling they're going to come in and there's a threat. And I'm like, man, all we got to do is keep doing what we're doing, you know, and hopefully they're doing good stuff too. That'll draw more people to our area because, you know, competition, it's like the same reason why McDonald's and Wendy's and all these places build near each other.
Yeah.
Because it creates a draw. And then if they're doing good product, they're going to get their section of the market share. And if the other guy's doing a good product, it's great. And you never really have to worry about competition in my mind. Like, you know, as long as you're performing. So you don't want to be put a substandard product. Like if there's a burger joint that just does crappy burgers or not, like it's missing the mark for some reason, and they're putting themselves right next to a high volume burger joint, they're going to get killed.
Yeah, they're going to
right? Because people are always going to try or go to the place that's killing it, that's doing the good product, that's consistent, that they know about. So, you know, and then the flip side is if there is no competition around, then you're literally a ship in the open ocean, and then you've got a captive audience, I guess, if you're in the right spot, but there's no other draws that are coming to you. Like if you build a like for where we are in Courtenay, we're kind of right in sort of like the food little area in Courtenay, like Atlas Cafe is right behind us, and they've been an institution there. You've got the ramen spot not far away. Like there's a bunch of food things in the area. So then we'll just be a part of that. But if we have to live up to our promise, which is delivering good product, and the customers will eventually come. But that's where you look at the three-year window where you're like, okay, well, I'm going to lose money for the next 3 years. Even a brand like ours is like we're not anywhere near break even right now. So you kind of think, well, what are we doing? How do we get our message out? And then it's like, do people understand who we are? Like we're Vancouver-based company, and then we do all this foundation work. But then does that speak to the customer up in Courtenay? Right. You know, like the island is very diverse. Like in all our different locations, it's weird because you would think, well, we're all Canadian. Yeah. You know, we're all from BC. We're all from the island. You know, but there's a variety of values and priorities in different parts of the island, which are unique to those spots.
And so do you have to change your messaging?
A little bit. You got to think about it because for us, like we're kind of a regional brand, but we still have to be diverse in our own region. You know, like it's not like we would probably have different messaging in Alberta, for example, like because sure, people in Alberta care about climate change, but there's also a whole bunch of people that don't. So it's, you know, stereotypically it'd be a little bit more kind of rednecky and, you know, workers and like where people may view us as a bit like woke or elitist or whatever. I think like, you know, so you're trying to position yourself on but we're not that. We're just trying to serve a really good product, and we're trying to I personally have a mission to try to give back. So it's not really related to, is giving back going to make my business successful? I think it is. I think it's a good business model. I think it works, and I think it speaks to people, but it also may alienate people. They're like, why is this person telling me where to put my money, and why are they choosing where the money goes? And are they just doing it to make themselves like feel better than me, or what? You know what I mean? Like
that's such a petty argument because they're choosing to spend their money where they want to.
No, I agree.
And when they pay you for the product, then now it's your money. You can spend it how you want to.
Yeah, and when the business models can be the choice of the people that operate the business, but the value system is what you're trying to connect with your customer, so that they either want to join you on this journey, or they're going to critique you, or they're going to say, this is not for me. Right. So you want to try to build a value system that your customer can relate to. And then it's also like anything else, you're going to build your tribe of customers or tribe of supporters based on what your values are. And as long as the business sticks to what their value promise is to themselves and their customer, then you're going to build your group of people. Yeah. And you may not ever get this other group of people, you know, but that's also going to limit your growth. And then depending on what type of people are in that community will dictate how much of that market share you get, right? But I think being true to what your mission is and what you're trying to do is key, but that's not always going to connect with that community. Like we left Nanaimo, right? South Nanaimo, where we were, and it's not just Nanaimo's fault, it's our fault for not connecting with the community. Or maybe we made a bad decision on where the location was, or we just didn't get the message, or we're too busy doing stuff down here without really focusing, or just thinking, oh, we're Big Wheel, we'll just go there, and people will say, oh, you're Big Wheel, it'll be fine. Yeah. But you know, everybody connects in a different way, but they're lined out of the door at A&W. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh my goodness, A&W does a good product. Not bashing them, but you know, we're trying to do something a little different. And
I go to the airport. I have a wholesale customer there, the Fickle Fig, and they're right next to a Tim Hortons in the airport.
Yeah.
And every time I'm there, I'm there early in the morning.
Yeah.
The lineup at Tim Hortons is outrageous, and there might be one or two people at the Fickle Fig, but
the product is like
night and day.
Yeah, and it's not that far off price wise either.
No, it's really not. And
that shows you the power of marketing and the power of first to market kind of thing,
and brand recognition,
and consistency. And that's the other thing is like,
but consistently lame is still lame.
But again, that's where I use this term. Hopefully, it doesn't offend anybody because I don't shop at Walmart, but they call it the Walmart crowd, right? Where you've got the big pool of population that is not looking for something interesting. They're looking for something consistent, and that they know it, they feel it, and they've done a good job connecting with Canadians over the years. So they've done that heavy lifting, and they've invested in the market. Like as consumers' ideas and tastes change, like who's going to displace Tim Hortons? Like
I was thinking about this, and because Tim Hortons is owned by, I think it's JBL or JLB or some massive company out of Brazil.
Yeah, they do beef.
Yeah, if the U.S. tariffs on Brazil for 50% go through, and most products come through the U.S. up into Canada, is Tim Hortons going to be 50% more expensive now?
Well,
I mean, some products like their coffee certainly will be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that is that's an interesting thing because all the inputs in our business comes from different places. Majority of everything comes from the States.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if you're buying it directly. So even if it touches down at a port or an airport or anywhere in the U.S., then it's totally subject to the same duties.
Yeah, and then if it's coming from there, then you're being dutied. And then depending on what it is, like we bought a grill, and the only way you can get these grills, they're made in the States. So I'm sure there's some grill, but the specialized, 5-layered chrome grills, right, that are specialized grills that we use. There's only two places that make them, and they're both in the States.
Why? Sorry, I didn't mean to say why.
I don't know.
I had a question in my head. I was going to say, wow.
Wow, but you said why.
Why is there so many... why is that grill so special? Because I know you've talked about the grill to me before.
Well, because you want... it's about searing of the beef.
Okay.
Right? And you don't want to have the grill temperature. It's got to be consistent. So
there's no hot spots.
There's no hot spots. Plus, you want every burger to be cooked the same.
Okay.
And because you're standing on the grill all the time, these grills are specialized. You can actually put your hand very close to the grill and not feel the heat. But if you touch it, you're gonna get burnt. Right. So and it's how quick it cooks and the consistency of cooking. So you can use just a normal grill. Like our burger, like you can't just use any grill for our burgers to get the same product. Right. Okay. So part of it is the crust. When you cook it right. And even we don't do it perfect, like depending on how skilled the grill person is or how they're trained or, just different habits. They, when they're doing the smash, like there's certain people that I can tell who cook the burger.
Oh yeah.
Just because they just nail it every time. So, and I like the perfect, there's a crust around the edges. Mm-hmm. So that's a good smash, but the temperature of the grill has to be right. So, and there can't be any cold spots. So we had grills in Langford that was consistently just bad. And it was a good grill, but we'd bought it used, and there was just something wrong with it. We couldn't figure out what it is. We rebuilt it like 5 times. Finally, we scrapped it, and I bought a new grill. But those grills are like 25, 30 grand.
Are these new ones, are they powered by gas, or are
we're going to electric? So the one that we had was gas, and they're more expensive to maintain, and they can be, in our experience, they were a little inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
The electrical ones are better, more reliable, less maintenance, and they cook more evenly, I guess. I mean, if the gas grill is set up right, there's no real difference between electric and gas. Okay. But through the maintenance area, like you've got thermostats and different things in the gas and valves, and you don't have an electric and airflow. Yeah, exactly. So that will affect the outcome. So for a long time, when we opened Langford, the grill was fine, but then it started to deteriorate, and then we didn't catch it quick enough. So 6 or 7 months of super inconsistent. My burger's overcooked. My burger's undercooked. The team is like, this is taking so long, in the rush. So now the food is like slow, and then customers just go, oh. So we saw our initial, like, we have a bunch of good customers, and the store is doing well, but we're now building back the business after losing a chunk just from inconsistency. And that's what I talk about, is that like competition is not bad. Like Burger Crush went out there, and I think, as far as I know, they're killing it. So that's great, but I don't worry about Burger Crush killing it. I worry about us killing it.
You killing it.
Yeah, like I'm not worried about Burger Crush. I'm worried about us. So if Cook Street is doing this product that's just like consistent and superior because of the manpower and whatever that we're doing there, like the training, the manager attention, and he's a chef, and perhaps our Langford manager isn't a chef per se, but it's a quick service manager that has all those skills. But the technical part on the cooking thing, there's a little bit more attention to detail in Cook Street versus Langford. The customer's going to pick up on that. Right? If you've only ever eaten at Langford, you're going to be able to test the quality difference. Right. But if you go to other spots, and that's the killer, and that's why Tim Hortons, the way they've done it in McDonald's and all these people, it doesn't really matter what's happening in the labor pool. They've dumbed down their product enough that they can keep it consistent.
Yeah,
consistently not great in most, like, our eyes, just because we like better products and we like different things, but
also in terms of health and what you're putting into
your
body.
And where it comes from and process.
There's a lot about that.
There's a whole bunch
can't abide by.
And I think that but we're in our little pool of people where there's other people that don't even think about that. When you go back to my example of Walmart, and why I don't shop at Walmart, because it's a race to the bottom. Yeah. But there's so many people that can't afford to live in an area if they don't shop at Walmart because of their prices. So what they do to vendors,
it's perpetual too. It gets worse and worse. It's a cycle.
Yeah, exactly. So they're needed for a big population that needs to buy things cheaper, effectively. So for us, if we have a little bit more scratch and whatever, it's a luxury to be able to not shop there. And I think that's the counterpoint. And I think for a long time, I was just like, nobody should shop at Walmart. They're just killing people, and it's a race to the bottom. But I'm like, some communities, like, that's the only way they're able to afford to live in the communities, because they can buy groceries or buy clothes for the kids or buy an array of products at what they know is the cheapest possible price. And it is. Right.
It makes me want to say that companies like Walmart have created the environment to which their customers depend on them.
Yes.
By their very existence. Yeah. They create that because they wipe out any competition in a small town. Yeah. And then they wipe out quite a few jobs, even though they provide some jobs for sure to a community.
But not all jobs are the same.
No.
Right? Because if they're providing minimum wage jobs and they've wiped out other, higher value businesses that charge a little bit more, but they also maybe treat their employees a little bit better.
Yeah, like the mom and pop store. They can't compete with Walmart anymore.
Yeah. And so I think the overall, but it's now we're down the cycle. Like, how do you stop it? Like, if you just shut down all the Walmarts tomorrow, like, and people had to go fend for themselves, not only the supply chain, because now all these companies that are making products for Walmart, there's all these ecosystems and all these jobs. And, I was just looking at, a list of some of the richest women in the world. Like it popped up on something I was looking at. And the top woman is the owner of Walmart.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And I was thinking, well, there should be a whole bunch of, but I guess there's another Walmart heir that is like 20 billion or something. And the other one, who I would imagine is either the daughter or the wife of the founder of Walmart. I think he might be dead now. I don't know enough about the Walmart history, but she's at 90 billion.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, so they're creating all these billionaire people up here. The customer's buying it super cheap, but they're doing it on the backs of the workers. They're doing it on the backs of the vendors, because I sold to Walmart.
Were they nasty to work with?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I managed to navigate that okay, but I had to do some stuff that wasn't in my personal ethic, but was business ethics. But they're doing it. So if you don't do it, you're done.
You're out of the game.
You're out of the game. Yeah. And that to me is literally why I built my business the way it is, giving back and doing the foundations, because I left that experience having that business. I sold it, but I didn't sell it. I sold it because it was very complicated, but I also had to do a ton of traveling, which I was just burnt out from. But I got out of it because of my battling with my personal ethic with business ethic, because I think if you're truly, there should be no difference. Like your personal ethic should align with your business ethic. And so when I left that business, I said to myself, I'm not going to get into another business unless I can build it so I can give back and really be a part of the community. And I didn't feel a part of anything in that. I felt like I had to compromise what I think was right way to deal with it. But the only way you could survive in that business. So it's again, a race to the bottom, where they're just breeding these companies that are just it's not even in their interest. Like, I think I would rather have a business. I'd rather be at my level of income running my business the way I'm running it, so that, my staff are making enough money. The customers, I mean, some people say, oh, you're too expensive. But I'm like, if you look at all the layers of value that are there, the products we're buying, what we're paying our wages and all that kind of stuff, then I think people should understand that this is a different type of business than I could make more money, but where did that money coming from?
Yeah,
I could actually charge less, but I'm literally going to be taking that from my staff or beating up and grinding my vendors to the point that they don't even want to do business with me. Yeah. And then Walmart's luckily enough that everybody's lining up to try to do business with them, but careful what you wish for. Because once you get in that loop, you literally are forced to make decisions where you're like, oh, I can't afford to pay this person. Or I have to go. I was in China. I was negotiating this cooler price because Home Depot was like, I'll give you this order if you get it this price. I was there. I think it was like 2 a.m, still negotiating over like 30 cents. And I felt disgusted. I'm like, what are we doing here? They were like, what are we doing here? And I literally needed that 30 cents, because if I didn't get that 30 cents, I was going to lose money. You know what I mean? And that's where it comes down to, is like, it's just a race to the bottom where you're literally compromising it. And you're like, at the end of the day, it just made me feel dirty, and I was out of it. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm done. And I literally canceled all my meetings and flew home, and literally within 6 months I'd sold the business and got out of it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Just get out. I almost was in Costco. I mean, I go to Costco all the time.
Yeah.
But I almost had my product in Costco.
Oh,
and this was so many years ago. And I really, once I went down that road and looked further down the road than I went, I'm so glad I
dodged a bullet.
I really did.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have had to change everything that I do.
Yeah.
First off, for maybe a month's worth of orders, and then they can just stop.
Well, that's the problem, is they could just go like that.
Yeah.
Like, they canceled a PO on me. And I had because there's the lead time is you need months ahead, and you got to prepay the goods. So they're literally on the water. And I was just like,
and they don't pay their vendors for
90 days. Yeah.
And they just take that money and invest it.
Yeah. They just have
make their interest on it.
Yeah.
And then pay you.
Yeah. But the returns too. So then you can just return. So your coffee product would be a prime example. Oh, I didn't like it. Okay, well, we're going to take it back. And guess what? They just delete it from your paycheck. Like when they're about to pay you, they just minus it. But then they send the product back to you, and then you got to do something with it. So we're throwing it out. Obviously, it's a food product. Our coolers, they would just come back in droves, and people didn't even have to have a reason. They just go to Home Depot, didn't like it. Okay, well, return it. So then by the time you got the actual product back, and the product works fine. So we test it and retest, and then I'd have to find an auxiliary market to sell it because the thing works.
Yeah, what happens to all the returns? What is the auxiliary market?
Well,
auxiliary.
Well, you just find a different supply chain. So there's a different level of store that would buy these.
Like that they would buy the return goods?
Well, you could specifically sell them as return goods, or you just clean them up. Like they're brand new. Like they're still... Like the box, you got to replace the box, you got to replace the stuff, but the product completely works. It's like it came off the factory.
Wow.
So I would just rebox it and send it out. So because there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay, I often wonder where the pile of returns is at the back of Costco.
No, it depends on what it depends. It depends on what you're doing. Like I'm debating whether I should say this or not, but I know what we did because I was just like, okay. I would get, and it depends, like sometimes depending on the season. So say people needed a water cooler for the summer, then come the fall, you get all these returns and you're like, what's going on here, man? And then these coolers are totally fine. I would just rebox them and send them back. That's what I do. Cause I'm like, and maybe that cooler comes back again, or maybe it doesn't, but I'm like, I'm not eating this because that's the difference. I'm not eating it. They're asking you to eat it.
Just pretend that they were pre-tested.
They are.
They're quality controlled tests.
Well, and these are the kinds of things, but that's what I'm talking about with ethical thing, right? Where in order to survive, you got to bend. Is it within the confines of, have you justified it? And can you, build a case that, it's fine? Yeah. Because these things have been inspected. There's no difference in inspecting them or building them in Asia and then getting them here because the product comes here. So some get damaged in shipping, so you can't sell that. So you take that off the thing. And some don't work. So the ones that don't work, those things go. And you basically just throw them out.
And you just eat that?
You just eat it. So you have to build that into your prices. So when you start negotiating, if you don't know all of that, if you're a new vendor to these companies, they're going to eat you alive because they also take marketing dollars off and they won't tell you. They'll just put you in an ad. Right. They'll do all the photography. They'll do everything, and you'll be in a flyer.
Be like,
and they'll deduct 5%.
Yeah.
But you haven't built that into your cost structure. So you're like, and you're the sales. We ended up doing water with them, and
with Costco,
with Home Depot.
Oh, okay.
We did water with Costco too. We did a bunch of water. So we tied in water coolers, like bottled water coolers with water, and we built these racks. We designed the whole thing, and it was way above my head. Sorry. I was way above my head. Like financially, I wasn't here, but I built the marketing end of it really slick. So it looked like we were this massive company that had all these products. And I went out and made all these relationships with local water companies to deliver the water to the store. But it looked like we were the national brand and all this stuff, which is great to get in there because they're like, oh, okay. But then when the POs start coming, you're just like, oh, wow, this is huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so we were doing these big 5-gallon bottles of water, and I had built this whole network across the country, and I'd been in the water business. So I had the connections and I was able to tell the story, but you're selling to them. And then I'm a middleman. So I'm getting the money and I'm making like 50 cents a bottle, right? So they're selling it for $6 and I built in a 50-cent little thing, and then I'm managing the money. So the money would flow to me and I'd pay them, and everybody was happy with that. But then all of a sudden they're like, hey, can you supply me like 500 mils or like the little bottles or 350 ml bottles or whatever? And I'm like, wow, I have this captive audience. I'm talking to the buyer. I'm like, sure, I just did this whole network. So then I go and do that. But I didn't know what Home Depot's plan was, but their plan was to lead the water, like basically give the water away. So we had truckloads of water being ordered, like literal truckloads. And the supplier, I'm like, okay, we got a PO and here's what I think the volume is going to be. And here's what our initial order and here's how it's going to work. And they're like, okay, great. Then all of a sudden the orders came in. So they basically put a flyer out across, I think it was Ontario at the time. And they're like selling water, like a case of water for like $2.
Oh, wow.
So 24 bottles. They were losing. They were buying it for the case maybe $5. They were eating it. So we were getting the $5. Like that month, I made $1 million in water, brokering water. Yeah. But
at 50 cents a pop?
Yes. That's how much they were ordering. Chinese and Asian grocery stores were ordering truckloads of water directly from Home Depot. And Home Depot was like bringing in and literally shipping. This company was just like, they could barely keep up. We had to find another supplier to meet the volume.
Would Home Depot do that just to get people in the door?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on their ad and come in the door. So they'd come in and these shop owners would just buy like truckloads of it and they'd pay for it, and then Home Depot would order it. And these people were just like, there was so much like the whole thing ended up being a disaster, because then Home Depot's pissed off at us because we couldn't deliver. And I'm like, you didn't tell me you're putting it in a flyer. Like, you got to tell me what volume you're doing. Like, there's capacity issues here, and it's summertime. So they did it in summertime when the volume for water is the highest. Yeah, sure. It was a nightmare. So you're having to make these choices, and it was a disaster. It was a disaster. Even though, like, on the top line, it's like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. But you know where I made all the money?
Where?
Shipping. It wasn't the product. So the product, because I built my pricing per case, not based on volume, but the shipping of the water,
which must be expensive, right?
Yeah, but
because it weighs a lot.
Yeah, the weight,
hard to pack.
Exactly. So when they're ordering truckloads, so if they order a pallet, I built in the pallet price. But now they're ordering like 2, 3, 4, 10 truckloads of product. So the delivery cost just fell right to the bottom. So the money I built in per case, like maybe it's 50 cents a case or 30 cents a case for delivery. Now I'm paying like 5 cents a case. So I didn't make any money on the water.
Okay.
The water was just like whatever, because even at that volume, my margin was so tight on that. Like, as a middleman, I barely made, like, it still made a little bit, but it was all made on the shipping differential. So that's ultimately what happens in some of these cases. You're not making money on your product. You're making money on the fact that people are buying so much volume that you're getting better discounts on the shipping of it. Right? But the only people that made money on that whole deal, because by the end, when all the dust settles, I ended up losing money on that whole, thing, just because of it's so hard to keep up. And then the currency thing on the cooler product part of it. And then everybody's catching on. So now the water supplier is like, oh, I can't keep up this volume. So I gotta raise price because I have to increase my capacity or whatever they're doing. So all these different moving parts, and you're just like, I was drowning. But I only made money on the delivery. So I wasn't even a part. That's not even my specialty, right? But the freight companies made a fortune.
I bet.
Yeah, because they were delivering containers, and I'm paying for the delivery of these things. So I'm sending these huge checks to these freight companies,
and then
waiting 90 days for my money to come in, right? But there was one P&L for 1 month. It was $1 million to the bottom line.
Whoa!
And if that could have gone on, like if I was actually the provider of the water and I was able to build a capacity, yeah, I'd probably make a lot of money. I ended up selling it to a water company, the business. So, but by the end of it, with all the returns and on the coolers, like, it was just a nightmare. Yeah.
Well, it would take a while with that 3-month payment window.
You got to be
plus
sophisticated.
A couple months on the previous side to plan, get the product, get it in the trucks. Yeah. So you're looking at maybe 4, 6, 5 months somewhere along those lines for one order to go through its full cycle.
Yeah. By the time the money's left your pocket till the time you get it back.
So in a business like that, it might take a couple of years for that to catch up so that you're feeling secure enough in your business.
Yeah. But then you're dealing with the currency side of it, because that's totally out of your control.
And the potential of just having that cut.
Yeah.
At any time.
Any moment. And then returns. Like, I ordered a whole bunch of little water coolers. They wanted, there's new electric water cooler came out. Small. And Home Depot's like, they saw it from a different competitor, and they're like, hey, can you get this? And I'm like, and this is part of the thing, being a cowboy, I was young. Like, I was probably 30 when I was doing it, or late 20s. And I was just like 6-gun shooter out there. I can
Yeah,
do it.
Get it?
Oh, I can get it. Yeah, no problem. So then I fly to China, find it. That was a 30-cent negotiation because of the price they needed it at, and they wanted it white. So I ordered I want to say I ordered 10,000 of these things at like $50 each or 20. Maybe my cost would have been less. It would have been $20 each, and I'm selling them for $25 or something like that. Like, and I'm trying to figure out, and maybe it was $32 I was selling them, but buying them for $20. So there was a $12 margin per each, and they'd order 10,000 of them. So you're like, oh, that's a good margin. It's nowhere near enough, right? Like I would have probably need to buy them for $15. So anyway, I buy them to the factory. I didn't have enough time to properly vet. So I get these 10,000, they arrive and they're pink.
No.
Yeah, because they put this.
Oh,
when I looked at the sample, it was white, but they decided because of some reason they wanted to put this because of the electrical. They're worried about insurance or something, so they put this fire retardant in the mix, and they didn't get it right.
In a water cooler, how many water coolers have burnt down? They're full of water.
I know, but it's when they catch fire internally. And
melts the plastic jug, water.
Well, I guess it melts. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's what they did. So we ended up getting these 10,000 coolers. They go out to the stores, and then all of a sudden they were coming back to us as fast as they were going out. And like 10,000 at 20, like that's a lot of money.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
So what happened with the pink ones? Did you have to just send them back, or?
Well, then it's a negotiation. So I'm like, you guys sent me pink, and then they're in China. They already got the money.
Yeah, right.
Right. So yeah, it was kind of like the beginning of the writing's on the wall in your business of like, I got to get out of this.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of.
Well, and Home Depot, they don't care. They're just like, okay, send it back. So I would just convince
so much that you're not in control.
Yeah, when some people wouldn't notice, and they're like, oh, this looks white. Like the graphic on the box was white. Okay. But when they opened it, it had a pink hue to it. Like, so it wasn't like pink.
Yeah, it was
slightly. Sort of like, and some people were like, oh, this looks pink. And some people, so I want to say maybe 1 in 3 people returned it, or 1 in 4 people returned it. Like way too big.
That's way too
big. And
big.
we've only built in, a return thing of, I don't know, like 3% or 4% or something. So we built that into the price, but now it's like quadruple. And so I literally I sent a bunch back. I gave a bunch away. Like it was a horrible. So you make $1 million on the water deal, but then lose $1 million on the cooler deal. And then you're like, what am I doing?
That was a lot of work for
a
break even and nothing.
Well, and then even then you tie in the ethical part of it, because you're having to do things that doesn't match or within the business ethics, but not your personal ethics. So
and supporting a big box store that doesn't have the community's best interests at heart.
Well, this is
just
it.
Like,
but
no
this
matter
is back
if
in the
you're
day
a customer or a vendor.
Yeah. Well, and this is back in the day when that wasn't on the forefront of your mind. Like, these guys, what are they doing to the world? What are they doing to the market? And I think now, if you see, the stage of capitalism and all of that, then now it's way, okay, Amazon, what are you doing? What are you really doing for everybody here? You built this monstrosity of a company that is basically putting industries out of business, supporting other ones, whole industries, and you're paying people like, it's just a race to the bottom. Again, it's like now we have a bigger version of Walmart and people, because of convenience, and it's convenient.
Oh yeah.
Like you're never breaking that chain, and you just hope, I don't know what's going to happen because of the bees. Then you're like, okay, well, what are they doing with all their money? So they're sucking like a vacuum cleaner, all the money up. Now, what are they doing with it? Are they building back communities? Are they putting parks in the areas they're working? Are they paying their employees well? No, maybe. So that's where the consumers have to demand something. Like they have to say, I'm not buying this anymore unless this happens.
I think I've only been to Walmart to buy anything maybe 2 or 3 times. 2 I can remember, and I'm sure there must be one that I don't remember.
But
one was for candles in an emergency.
Yeah, but
they're the only place open in a power outage.
That's the other thing too, is like that happens, right? So, and I always get into this battle with myself about like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing it? What are you doing? Like, does it matter? Is it lost? Because you just think it's such a big battle. Like when you try to put your convenience, what you need and want, what you like, and then you pair it with this moral sort of, analysis. Like, what are they doing with the money? Where's the money going? And a lot of times, I mean, it's a lot of work trying to figure out where all that is. And I care about that kind of stuff because I've also built my business around that. And I did it because of this experience. So the arc for me on why I do what I do at Big Wheel Burger really stems from, it goes all the way back to when I was came out of a coma and had to relearn how to walk and try to figure out there has to be a higher purpose for me here in the world to have survived this. Like, what lessons am I going to learn? And then go through this experience where I'm in this international business, which I always wanted to do as a kid. Growing up, I'm like, I'm going to own this. I wanted to be an importer, exporter. I want to do international trade. So I took that in college and I, got into this business and I'm doing it. And then I'm there. I'm like, oh my God, this is gross. Like thinking about what I have to do and all the nuances and the difficulty and the competition and the moral conflict. And that's why I said, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do it. And then try to build a business that was giving back. And then now as I'm doing that, all these other businesses like Amazon are growing and all these people, and they're just sucking all the money up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? This business model makes money and I can do things and I can also give back. And, but then now you're in this group of, ideological sort of wokeness and where you're trying to do all of this in a world where, do people care? Some people do, obviously, but then you're competing against these people and these people are competing against you. Like Amazon bought Whole Foods, right? And then you're like, oh, then you've got Mr. Beast doing burger joints and he's literally going in and doing these ghost kitchens in these spots, and you can get a Mr. Beast burger, but it's made at a Thai place, but it's in the back corner
Right.
where they got this guy who's just flipping burgers in the back. And you're like, oh, that's just bad. Like, I don't,
Did you hear about Elon Musk's new burger joint in LA? I don't know if it's just burgers or it's a diner type place. And
no,
yeah.
Tell me
true.
no.
No, it's really true. And it's just like he's not reinventing anything except
not.
for names. Like I heard one thing about his Chipotle mayo, big innovation from Elon, right? He's calling it the electric sauce. But it's just Chipotle mayo.
Tell me you're
It's
joking.
like, come on, that's like
Tell me you're joking.
No, I'm not joking. It's like a 20-year-old like thing people were into, and yeah, he's a little slow on the uptake, I think.
Well, he'll say it's like it'll make itself and it will put itself down your throat,
right?
Without
and it will
touching
reproduce itself.
Yeah,
it'll self-replicate burger joints.
Well, and he's basically going to probably do it based on robots working in there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. And
like fully automated. Well, they got these grocery stores now, and I think Amazon again doing grocery stores where you just there's no tellers.
Yeah,
you
walk in,
you put it in the basket, and it weighs it. It's out like it knows what's in the basket,
well,
and you walk through.
Everything's RF tagged. Or something.
Yeah. Or RFID.
RFID. Thank you.
And you walk through the till, and it tells you the bill. It tells you what's in the thing, and you pay. And you don't touch anything. And
I thought you didn't even have to pay. You just walk in, walk out,
it's all,
and it just bills your account.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder what happens if you can't afford what's in your bag. If you run fast enough out the door,
a big net.
Right.
Tesla will come with robots to come get you
and shoot you.
Yeah, or tie you up. Hopefully
dogs.
not. Hopefully, that's where you. Yeah, the kind of like if you think of Terminator, that whole movie series, and what do they call what was the name of the Skynet?
Yes.
Right. And you think about it, it's like, did you know that the writer who wrote Terminator also did The Matrix?
Yeah.
And it's all connected.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I just saw that in an interview, and she's being interviewed,
and
I was like,
she got no credit for any of it. I guess, right?
And I'm like, I mean, I'm sure she'd made a fortune in selling the books and selling the rights.
I don't know if she did.
No?
I think that's part of the controversy.
Oh, it's like they just basically.
I mean, maybe she got something, but I don't think she became rich and famous from it.
Well, I'm gonna do a little bit of a deeper dive into that.
To take the big box store conversation a little further, do you know what's happening at Parts Town and how they're operating their business?
Like Parts Town, like the auto supply?
No, like Parts Town.
What do they do?
They do parts for everything.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right. So if you want to fix something,
like a refrigerator or a car, or they do all the parts.
They've got all the parts, right? Yeah. And what they've done is
it's kind of like a Pet Boys. Well, Pet Boys is more automotive, I guess.
I don't know them, but Parts Town has gone around to all the manufacturers of things and bought like say 80% of all their parts for everything, though, everything, and they just have all the parts now. So
is it online?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they also work through like Grangers and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and if you're someone in the service industry who fixes things, you kind of have to buy it through Parts Town. So they now monopolize the price. But what Parts Town is now doing is they're buying repair shops all over the place. So Key Foods, I'm pretty sure now, is owned by Parts Town. If you follow the train up,
really,
that all of these,
I gotta take some notes.
Man. Yeah, because this is something that I'm just kind of finding out about now. And so they're buying up all these repair businesses, forcing them obviously to buy parts, charging whatever they want to for them because it's the only place to get the parts, even specialty parts. Like I've got in like a hand-built espresso machine built in Seattle in a small factory. If I want to get parts for that, I can't call the company anymore and just like say I need this and this. I have to go to Parts Town that owns all the parts for this small manufacturer, obscure little manufacturer, and they're doing that all over the place. So soon you're going to find that anything you want to repair is being repaired by Parts Town. And that's something that's going to influence our industry for sure.
Interesting.
Right? Like if you want your stove repaired, your new grill, and you want a part for it,
well,
I guarantee that part's going to come and touch Parts Town.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They're like the Amazon of parts.
Yeah. I had LDI come in and try to fix my stove. They had to buy their part through Parts Town. It was a timer, $850 for a timer.
Come on.
For a timer. I'm like, whoa, don't order it. I looked online and I found one, luckily, that wasn't through Parts Town.
Through that channel.
Yeah, and it just kind of diverged just a little bit off.
Did you have a product number? Like, how did you search it?
I guessed.
Yeah.
Actually, I had as many pictures and information as I could, but in the end, I guessed because it was only like $100-something bucks. So I guess I brought it in,
and it worked.
Asked LDI to put it in. And they weren't thrilled about that, so it took a while for it to go in because they didn't supply the part and make the money.
Yeah.
So they put it in, and of course it worked fine.
Oh,
but
my goodness.
This is where we're having to keep our eyes open, I think, in our industry is just because we're always repairing things. I repaired 3 pieces of equipment just in one day yesterday. I repaired a brewer and 2 grinders. And well, that's not really my job. And I'm not an expert fixer up.
Yeah.
But
it's the Peter Zambri thing too.
Right, exactly. It's like
he's doing gas work, he's like doing like welding. It's like, I mean, maybe he is. I don't know.
I've heard rumors he's doing gas work and refrigeration work. Man, it's amazing he has so many red seals.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's amazing.
That's why he's always going to school and learning
from
and getting
culinary
tickets.
to refrigeration.
Yeah. But it speaks to the thing, like if you're going to look at like even in our business, like we lost money last year, I think for the first time ever. Not ever. The first couple of years we were losing money, but generally our at the end we're either break even or we make a little bit of profit. And we're not making huge money by any stretch, but we actually lost a bunch of money. We had to close our Nanaimo store and we're doing a bunch of stuff and a bunch of system upgrades and just stuff that just chews up money.
Did the closing come before you realized you were losing money, or was that part of the loss?
Well, it was part of it was all kind of connected.
Okay.
So, and I knew that I was expecting it.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, surprise, but it just spoke to, okay, now what does it look going forward? And then we shrink our senior team and we cut our thing, and we're looking at compost material, and we're looking at beef supplier, and we renegotiate our deal with GFS, and, going through turning over all the obvious leaves. And then we're like, okay, well, we're going to break even this year. And then, okay, well, whatever levers of power do we have to try to bring our costs in line? I mean, sales are good. Like, our top line revenue and all that kind of stuff is still good, like industry average, and it's consistent with, what everybody else is doing. So I'm not worried about the top line.
It's all the expenses and costs.
Yeah.
Right?
And then they're like, well, I really, we can't just control the revenue. Like, you could just say, okay, I'm going to just raise my price to the point. Like, we would have to add $1 to our cheeseburger in order to make the margins we need. So we can't do that. I mean, we'll just alienate a bunch of our customers, and in certain markets, it would just kill our business. I think, but now, so we're having to do the heavy lifting of finding all these little cost cutting things, and eventually you run out of it, and you're like, okay, well, maybe I can only ever make 5%. And then you're like, well, that's,
it's a lot of work for
5%. And you're like, wow, you just have this, when we both have, really good brands, really good, support from the local community and all this. And we're basically just trading dollars.
Yeah, really. That's what it feels like most days.
And then you hear these things, because the repair thing has come up. I just took a note of it because I'm looking for, okay, we did this, and you forget. You're like, okay, you moved on, and then you're like, a year you've been overpaying for this thing that if you just identified it, you could have saved, 20, 30 grand. And that makes all the difference in our business. Like, those little tiny things. But if there's 100 of them. Like, and then you're so exhausted after beating up whoever you needed to beat up to get that price down, or change your system, or sacrifice your product, or make these decisions that, people like, just like when we moved our chicken, from gluten-free chicken to non-gluten-free chicken, we did that, one, for consistency, but also for economics. Right. And just saving some prep time, and just making it so now we're having the, company who's like a farm, and they're organic, and we're working with them, and they're able to do this for us, but it changed the product. But even then, okay, so that's one thing. We do that. It took months, and then we got backlash, and then we're like, oh my God, did we make the right decision? But even then, it exhausts you. So now the 5 other things that, you should have been having your eye on, like maintenance costs, or, the costs of gas, or whatever your inputs, or your equipment that was bad for 6 months that, eroded your top line because of quality, and, turnover because people don't want to work the grill because it's hot and it's inconsistent, and they burn food and they get yelled at or whatever. Like, if they're feeling bad about the product they're cooking because they're burning it all the time, it's not their fault. So that takes your attention. So writing down this thing about LDI, or these repair, not to throw LDI or Key Foods under the bus, but
you can throw Key Foods under the bus.
Well,
I will. It's fine.
But you're also looking at the amount of time. So bringing back to like refrigeration. So we work with this refrigeration company, and they're great. They're super nice, and they do a good job and all of that. But multiple times they misdiagnosed the issue when they should have just told us. They should have diagnosed it correctly, I guess, and then we wouldn't have spent $800 repairing a $2,500 cooler, when they then tell us after they repair it that, oh, you're gonna have to buy a new one.
Yeah.
And they billed us $800 when we could have just bought a new one for $2,500 that we ended up buying. So now we're into this thing for $3,500. So how many times did we call the repair company?
It's not a better cooler.
No,
it's not. But it's the same cooler. It just costs more.
Yeah, it just costs more, and and so they did it. And so I have to get involved, because then I've got to talk to the owner and say, okay, well, what is going on here? Like, this has happened 2 or 3 times. It happened with Big Wheel. It happened with Zambries. Like, how can we get this on track? Like, and he saw my point and agreed. But it's also their inputs. Like, they're a new technician, doesn't have the experience that this other person has, and that other person can't be at 7 places. So, they've got to divide and conquer. But we then, okay, well then I'm spending. So I have that whole conversation with them, and I don't like having those conversations. I don't like grinding people over their bills. And I like to just, you're a professional, you're good, I'm going to do it. But when all these things happen and you're like, okay, wait a minute, this is a problem. So fast forward 2 months, same thing happened again. Another cooler, another issue, another bill. And then it's, oh yeah, no, it doesn't work. We need a new one.
That's such a common issue. The same thing happened with I have 2 ovens. It happened with both of them.
Yeah.
And the same company came in and tried to repair them both. 6 months.
Yeah.
I've got email trains going back and forth about how it's still not fixed.
Yeah.
You still aren't listening to me when I'm telling you what I think the problem is, because I experience it every day.
Yeah. And
like,
you've been doing this a long time.
I've been doing it a long time, right? And you'll have technicians come in and Google your brand of whatever it is and try to figure it out, like on YouTube. It's like, I can do that. Yeah. And I have done that before I called you. Yeah. I've got a new guy. He was an old guy, older. Yeah. I'm not going to give his name out because he doesn't have capacity right now. Yeah. And and I want him. Okay, exactly. So I'm going to bring the spotlight on you, Sam, and I'm going to interrogate you to get it out of you. I will tell you after away. Yeah. But he's amazing. He comes in, he's got lots of experience, and he won't just jump into something. He'll ask you questions. Yeah. He'll talk about it. You can watch him trace back the problem in his mind. Yeah. And it's how I think about problems. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. And he'll just go in and he explains it to me so that I can maybe do it in the future as well. Yeah. And he fixed everything. He fixed everything the first day he was there. Oh, and I'm like, oh my God, why haven't I been calling you? He's like, well, I've been working other places for years, and because I've known him over the years, but
so I might know him too then.
Yeah, you probably have had some experience with him. Well, he's back in the game independently. Oh, and he's just working with. I love this because he only works with people he likes. Which is awesome. So sorry, but
that'll be the test. Sorry, I'm too busy. I'm like, oh, you don't like me.
Well, yeah, he's working 12-hour days right now. Yeah, and he doesn't need to take on new customers, and he knows if someone's gonna not pay him right away. Yeah. He's never going to work for him again, exactly. Ever. Why would he?
We'll send the transfer out straight away.
Yeah, but that old school mentality of solving problems and fixing them and not trying to rip people off just because he can. Yeah. Like he could. He's got me over a barrel,
that's
right?
The ethic.
My ovens aren't working. Yeah. He can fix them. Yeah. He could charge me anything.
And you pay it.
And I probably would pay it, right? But that's not how he operates. It was a blessing to find him.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was really great. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'll tell you after.
Yeah. But that is the crux of where you're into it. Like I never used to think about this. Something breaks and especially as you go along, and you can tell if you look at your maintenance costs in your business, that'll basically tell you when you need to be investing in new equipment. Yeah. And you should, and part of it is like you have to have all these best practices in place. Like you have to have, okay, what is the age of this product? And I tell my team, okay, let's keep track of when we bought the product, how much maintenance has gone into that product. Like keep, a file that has, the repair costs. Yeah. So then you bought this thing for 10 grand. You've had it for 5 or 6 years, and now you're starting to buy a new one every 2 years because of your maintenance, but you're not paying attention to it. So your managers are just, I got to call the repair guy. The repair guy's just sending a bill, and our accounting department is just paying it.
It's like maybe there's a formula you can read where it's the end of life, even though it's still working. Yeah. You're not willing to put more into it when you could just buy another one that'll be good for the next 10 years.
I think these big companies and big corporations that are very systemized, and I think the goal is to try to be a small company that has a small company feel, but has some of those best practices in, so that you can actually, because that's the nickels and dimes that you need to chase in order to make any money, right? Yeah. You can't just be cavalier about it and see, there's a $2,000 bill on this piece of equipment that's $5,000. You're like, what?
And projecting that out is something that I'm sure most people don't do or don't even think about that they can do that, because it feels like it's layered, right?
Well, it is layered, and you're hanging on to the fact that maybe you'll get 10 years out of this. I just was at Zabri's. It's interesting because we bought these 2 coolers from the Queen Mother Cafe when we moved Zambri, so that was 15 years ago. We bought all of Queen Mother Cafe. So we bought like all their coolers, all their stoves. We bought the whole thing. Some of their chairs. I can't remember all the stuff we bought. But we bought
the Queen Mary or the Queen Mother?
Queen. Is it? Oh, is it? No, Queen Mother. No, it's called the Queen Mother.
Okay,
I
don't know.
It was down right across from Canoe. It was a Queen Mother Cafe.
Okay.
And we ended up they closed or went out of business, and we bought out all their stuff. We still have 2 of the true beverage coolers there, and I'm like, interesting. Like, and so they're still working, but some of the newer ones we bought have been replaced 2 or 3 times, and specifically with this issue, with 2 of them they're different coolers, but we got billed for the repair. And then we had to replace it. But these ones are still there, right? So I'm looking at it, I'm going, yeah. And I think one of our stoves is still from that original purchase. So you're like, okay. So now if we would have said, okay, well, these things are going to last 8 years, like soon as the tipping point on your maintenance costs go up, something should trigger, right? But you're looking at the 100 different things. Like, how do you keep eyes on all of it?
Yeah. You need a maintenance schedule for sure for all your important equipment that you need.
Yeah, but the maintenance schedule, but also replacement schedule. Yeah. And then you have to allow for the ones that are going to be just bulletproof and last forever, because that's going to save you replacing, even though your schedule will say, oh, you should replace this. It's like a hot water tank at home.
Right.
Like they will always go after 10 years. But do you replace it at 8 years when it's still working? And do you have the odd one that goes 20 years? So you're like, So I think in business, for consistency, you probably just have to follow the cycle and just have maybe the odd win, but just all those little losses they're gonna add up if you don't have the plan, right?
They sure do. So is Peter actually still going around fixing things? Like, is he enjoying that?
He does. Yeah.
I can
and
see
he is.
why.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's like his brain works that way too. So it's like that sort of ADD, like he just wants to be constantly challenged and, wants to do a variety of different things. Like if you put him on the stove and he's just cooking, he's just like, okay, like, shoot me. I don't want to be doing this anymore. But if you say, hey, why don't you go do this? Or why don't you go fix this? Or, right now we ordered a bunch of takeout boxes we just got them in. Like we'll probably have these boxes for 20 years, but the only way I could get these boxes at a cost that I had to spend the money, it was like $15,000 in these takeout boxes, because we can't do a catering program without proper boxes.
Right.
But we're not big enough to just go, oh, we've got 100 stores, so we'll buy $15,000 worth of these boxes. I got to buy minimum purchase is $15,000.
Yeah.
Now I've invested $15,000 in boxes that I'm probably going to have I'll probably be buried in the boxes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just like, but I can't do the program without the box. It's like catch-22. Like we're not big enough to be able to float this inventory around. And, the time horizon where we're going to add more stores, I don't know. Maybe we won't add any more stores. Maybe it'll take 5 years to have enough stores to warrant the boxes that I bought. But I can't do the program without these boxes.
And are these catering programs through Big Wheel?
Yes, through Big Wheel. Yeah. So anyway, Pete's now unloading these boxes that are being delivered, right? And I had to buy them in 2 sizes because I'm like, well, this size might be better than that size. And anyway, it's probably just a really stupid decision. But in my head, I can't have the program without these boxes. And I don't know which box is going to be better for our team. So I bought both of them.
Oh, jeez.
And so I will have some boxes probably for sale at a garage sale in 5 years.
They're all blue. Are they all
big old branded, the whole thing, right? Because if you want to be the president, you got to dress like the president. So if you want to have a catering program, you got to have all the bells and whistles that make a good catering program.
Oh, I thought you were going to say your tie has to hang down to mid-thigh to your knee.
No, it's got to go to your belt. Apparently.
Oh, well, even if you're the president?
Well, yeah. If you're certain presidents, we're not bringing politics. It's the first time we didn't bring politics in.
Well, I think talking about big box stores is kind of talking politics society.
Yeah, it is.
I think that seeing which way the wind blows on industries like parts and maintenance and where people have the opportunity to buy things can be very political. I mean,
Well, I think it all, and that's the thing. Like when you look at the politics and you look at religion, and you look at business, and you look at where all these things, I mean, we as humans always kind of go back to look at, well, what do we like? Then how does that fit in with, our view of the world and who we want to be to the world? And then how does it match with our religious beliefs, I guess, or like the bigger picture stuff?
Yeah.
And and this is what happens in this world we're in right now, where there's a rise in authoritarianism and, there's everybody's anti this or anti that, and trying to figure out, what we do. And you can't in this, I think you have to pick who you want to be and who you want to support. Because when you're seeing it's so blatant now what side people are picking for different things, so you're kind of forced to make a decision if you want to support that. I think like morally, and then it's like, well, do I want to make every decision a moral decision? You know what I mean? Do I want to always be confronted with politics or religion or whatever? And it's like, sometimes I just don't. Sometimes I just want to just be kind and nice and just do a good job without having to worry, where did that product come from? Who am I supporting? Who do they support? Right?
It didn't feel like it was this hard 20 years ago
no, it wasn't.
To make the right decision.
No, because everybody was nobody was forcing it, because you don't have these people that are in the world manipulating crap. And it's so obvious now what they're doing and why they're doing it. And you're like, okay, I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So then you try to build your own little world over here, and you can never get away from it. And I think push comes to shove, especially when there's these big sort of societal shifts, right? Like what's happening right now it's a monumental shift, but it's happened before. It happened 80 years ago.
Sure.
And it happened 80 years before that. And it happened 80 years before that. Like it's generational, it's cyclical, based on the human experience and how do we interact and how far away we are from these major events where we're like, never again, because people forget and history repeats itself. So we're just in the same sort of period as they were 80 years ago, pre-World War II. And, all the same things are happening, pandemics and, depressions and, fascism and all this stuff, because people are like, oh, this might work.
It's just happening in fast motion because we're so interconnected.
Yeah.
Right?
The world is connected unlike it's been before. You hear rumors of this stuff happening and all this, and now
you can see it on your
blatant.
phone in your pocket.
Even if you look at the social media, which is like just a curse to the world,
Yeah,
it just is.
It's a cesspool.
Oh, it's a cesspool. And I think there's pockets of joy out there, like if you're looking at puppies and flowers, and there's cool things out there.
My little pocket of joy got busted.
What happened?
Oh, man. I was like trying to get out of social media, and my wife says, that's great, but have you seen the bears jumping on the trampolines? And I'm like, no, I
did see little bits of it.
And then there's like bunnies and raccoons. They're all jumping on trampolines. I'm like, oh my God. But isn't it AI? And it turns out it was AI. It's like, damn, there is no good corner of the internet anymore that's real.
Now you're looking
it's
at
real cute.
Well, you're looking at this stuff. You're like, oh, that's so good. Like I like those little babies that are having conversations with adult voices. I send them to.
Were we gonna do some of those?
Yeah, I want to do. We'll do some. I'm gonna figure out how to do it, but we're gonna do baby version of our podcast.
Oh my God,
which will be hilarious. But I said Stacy, our Yad's wife, and she's one of my closest friends. I keep sending her different. They come up on my feed. I'm just like forward them to her, and it could be like relationship stuff or like it's some of them are just like absolutely hilarious. Where the female baby will be saying to her boyfriend, "It's like, hall pass. Who would be your hall pass? Who would be your famous hall pass?" And then he says, "I'm not walking in this trap." And it's a little baby talking, which is hilarious. And then he says, "What would be your hall pass?" And she mentions this actor. And then he's like, oh, blah, 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 that actor or whatever. And then she says, well, who is your hall pass? And then she says, your best friend, Amy. And then she's like, what? It's just see these little babies like interact. Like it's so stupid. But that is, there is like, you get joy in that. It's hilarious. But
even in a cesspool, cream rises to the
I know.
good zest rises to the top.
But how do you undo all of this, like from a societal point of view, where everybody is so trained in it? And I break myself away, and then depending on if I'm tired or whatever, then I'll be just doom scrolling through the stuff, but laughing. But then you see your feed changing depending on the algorithm, and then all of a sudden you see the stuff like, I'm like, I don't like that, so I'll block. I block a lot of things because I'm like, I don't want that in my. I know conceptually I know how it works, but and then I go to my wife because she's on there too, and she's like, my feed is awesome. Like she has a bunch of stuff to make her laugh, and she's always laughing, and I'm like getting all rageful, and I'm seeing all this political stuff. I'm like, man, I want to kill somebody. And she's like, what? I got these flowers and these puppies and this thing and this thing. And she sends it to me. I'm like, oh, that's funny. So you almost have to, consciously rebuild your algorithm to fit, but it's got to just all go away.
Well, and I mean, there's a couple ways that can happen. Well, I don't know, man. You want to get conspiratorial?
Oh,
I mean,
Jesus. The
internet was like started and was run by CIA who invested into it, right? So why would they do that? Well, and then why would they give it to the public? Like if it's this powerful tool that the CIA helped create and mold, why would they give it to the public? Well, it sows chaos and dissent and crazy feeds, right?
Yeah.
So now it's getting to a point where it's kind of turning on them, though. Like the internet is power for the people.
Yeah.
Somehow, right? I mean, if you can filter through it, there's some powerful truths in there. And what if those powerful truths become too much, and they just say, well, why did we let them have it at all? And you just cut it off.
Well, but this is
but wouldn't that be like
but they'd never do it because it works. Yeah, it would be great, but they're never going to do it because it works in their favor, the bigger favor. But it's also the influence of corporations and money. So that's how it
I guess all advertising now.
Yeah, it's
like you can think of the
it's not only advertising,
right?
it's productivity and it's gains, and it's like, well, now I can micro target my customer. So, if they hear about this, if you go back and they're like, oh, well, this technology exists, and then they're like, well, we can actually monetize it, and you know what, it'd probably serve our purpose because we can kind of control what information sometimes get out, and then all of a sudden it's out of control, and now they're like, you've got bad actors that are taking advantage of it, and then you got this AI and the deep fakes, and then people don't use critical thinking, and they're lazy, so they just want to be fed and it's not intentional laziness. It's just out of, like, everybody's lazy. Like, I look at stuff, I'm like, oh, I'll take that as fact, and then later I'll find out that what I heard or read was total BS. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I should have done a little more research.
You mean
on that.
Bears don't jump on trampolines?
They don't. And babies don't have adult conversations. Like, what?
What?
I
mean, maybe the internet will get so broad and untrustworthy and unpredictable and so chaotic that more people will just drop out of it. I mean,
there's going to be a shift. There always is. Like, and again, read Fourth Turning.
Yeah.
Right? Because
great book.
This is coming to a head.
Yeah.
At some point in our lifetime, in our probably immediate future, the next 10, 15 years, they'll come to head, because it has to come to head. And it's happened before, like when there's, these fascist things. Like, the world is in a very weird spot now, but it's been there before multiple times. Different environment now, maybe the idea is a different subject matter, but it's all the same. It's people trying to control people for profit, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And they can't, you got one group of people, political, like everything has happened. It happened in Rwanda, where one group of people was a minority. They wanted to control the majority. So they slaughtered them, and they created this whole thing, right? And there's this imbalance that happens, but it's always, and you look in this out, like, the Republican views are a minority view, because they feed off the putting people down, keeping wages down, being racist, or all this stuff, and then not wanting to give people health care, and just the stuff that makes the world a better place, but also makes people more prosperous, everybody more prosperous. So it's really stupid, but they want control because they want to do whatever they're doing, right? But they're a minority. So say there's like 30%, and the people say 50% of it's not 50%.
It's not.
The core is like 30%, 25%. But now the 25% are controlling the narrative for the other 75%. Not only that, the world, because they're so impactful in what happens in the world, but they're not 50%, right? So why are the 75% allowing the 25% to control all this stuff that's so meaningful?
Well, even if it was 50%, it's still not right for 50% to dictate to the other 50%.
No, but
right?
and you're not going to be 50-50 down the middle on all the issues, right? So, when you deal with women's health and you deal with guns and you deal with all these stuff and the economics, like what their economic policy is like, uniformly, people are like, this is nuts. But because it's so nuts, you're like, well, maybe he knows something I don't know. And it's just like, are you kidding me? No, they're idiots. Like
he's
it's
in
just
the idiot box.
Yeah, it's just stupid. Like everything's stupid. So, once it blows up, like you have dumb people doing dumb things, it's gonna blow up. And then what happens is then you pick it up, and that's where the turning happens. Where now you're in the first turning, right?
Where
people
maybe
like never
good
again
solutions come out, not
exactly.
polarized solutions that no one can
After
agree
World War
to,
II,
right?
Taxation reform, they tax the rich, and it was the most prosperous period of time after World War II. So the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and it was all based on good tax policies, where they weren't taxing to death the lower and middle class. They were taxing the rich and providing healthcare, providing good policy, providing education. Right. And over time, because of manipulation and, all these controls and all for money and all these, then you get the separation of wealth where the top 1% have 90% of the wealth. Right. It just makes no sense. And it's not getting any better, but there'll be a correction. Right. And it's going to be painful. And usually it happens with war or economy failures like the Great Depression. Like everything that led up to World War II was surrounding rise in authoritarianism, protectionism, right? Which we're finding we're back at. Does it work? Because then you're literally making decisions for your own little world when you're in a more global. It's even more global now. You have supply chains that are so intertwined.
Absolutely.
That like it doesn't make any sense to undo them. And why are you undoing them? Because you think you're not being treated like it's all BS. It's all an illusion that's created to control people. So you demonize people and you be critical to them, and then your group kind of joins the bandwagon, and then you get too far into it and you're like, oh my goodness, what happens? I'm sure some people are shocked at what goes on there, but they just ignore it because they're too invested, right? It's the sunk cost fallacy. I put too much money into it. I've backed this horse for too long. Now I can't get out of it. They basically ride you off the cliff, which will happen. And the cliff, depending on what happens after you fall from the cliff, like after World War II, you find out that, the Germans, slaughtered 6 million people of Jewish descent. Like that's horrific. And you say never again. After Rwanda, never again. After Cambodia and Pol Pot, never again. And it's like never again does come again.
It's crazy how history just keeps on repeating and rhyming.
And you say, oh, history always repeats itself, and then when you're in it, you're like just doing the same things, and people just need to take a step back and go, man, this was here before. Like, and they're doing concentration camps in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what are you guys thinking? And the language is the same.
Building concentration camps is not good. And the privatized prison system.
No, all that.
And more concentration camps, holding facilities, or whatever the hell you want to call them. It's just hearkening back to a darker time.
Yeah, it's been done before.
Yeah,
and look at the results. It's going to happen again. So the good news of that is that there will be an enlightening thing after, where people are like, okay, never again. Like, we're living it. We're going to have to go through it. We're going to have to get to the other side of it, and then it'll get better. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I hopefully, based on the cycle, it should happen the next 10 to 15 years. Could happen in 5 years.
It kind of feels like it's now.
We're in the middle of it. Like,
I mean,
but it's not. It's going to get worse.
Thing could trigger that.
Whatever it is,
right?
We just don't know what it is.
Turning point.
Yeah, and hopefully, the wisdom of people will rise, but it's going to take marching in the street. Yeah.
Maybe the big change will be dramatic and maybe hurtful, but maybe to all the right people only. Maybe it'll just take out the billionaires causing the problem. Not that I want to take out billionaires.
No, we don't want.
However, I don't want to be advocating any violence.
No.
Or anything.
I just want fairness. I mean, there's nobody that should have like 1,000 years of income.
What's your cap off the top of your head to how much money a person should be able to have?
I think it should. I don't think there should necessarily be. There just needs to be a mechanism of tax fairness. So everybody should be paying. People that are rich should be paying more of the pool. Like if this person pays $1,000, I should pay $1,000, but I have $1 billion.
Yeah.
There needs to be wealth taxes. There needs to be, if you're fortunate enough to have the prosperity, you should be giving back more of that tax. And you've got it. It doesn't affect your life in any way, shape, or form. The percentage of your income, like even if you look at Elon Musk is like, I paid more taxes. Like in practical terms, you did, but as a percentage of your income, you didn't. Like I look at, what our foundation gives back to the community as a percentage of our income. Like we didn't make any money last year, and we still were able to give away, $140,000.
Wow.
Right. So as a percentage, like that's 100% of our profit we gave away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So am I advocating that? No, but Elon Musk saying, he gave away 0.001% of his annual income.
Is that what it was?
I'm making up numbers, but it's small.
No.
Like he might pay no personal income tax, but his corporations might have paid X, like 5% or 3% or 2%. Like it's so little where you've got mom, pa, kettle paying 30% of their income to taxes.
Yeah.
Right. And then these people are doing all these. If you own stock, you only pay tax when you sell. So you can borrow against those stock to pay all your day business that is tax free.
Right.
So they can literally pay no tax at all. So how is fair is that? And they're sucking all the money up. So where is the money? It's a law of diminishing returns. So you're not getting it. That's why the tax bases are shrinking, because they're giving these tax breaks and all the money's being sucked up, and they're basically saving it. They're putting it into. They're never spending it.
And if you're getting a bunch of government contracts, if you're Elon Musk as an example, and you're getting all these other benefits.
They get the tax benefits, but they're not paying in.
Exactly. So it's like
and they move their money offshore. Like they move their corporation to Ireland, like Apple. Yeah. And then now, because Ireland they didn't have a big enough tax pool. So their small tax that they're paying, they're happy for it. Plus they need jobs. So they've created this tax haven. Right. So all the money that is being made by the shoppers in North America, for example, is being funneled to Ireland, and that money's staying in there. They've got billions of dollars in cash
just
sitting there. Like tax it. Like this whole thing is tax. It's really big tax policy has been corrupted. So that's it. So if they go back to 1960s tax policy and just go, boop, and maybe they ease it in so less of an impact, and let the billionaires do whatever it's not gonna affect their lives, period.
But how much of a stink? They're gonna make a much bigger stink about losing money. Of course
they are, but then they're also gonna advocate. We're gonna be defending these billionaires because of some righteous indignation. Like you see these people that come to Elon Musk and Bezos' defense, and these people are just working class people going, "It's wrong to do that." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
They've got a right to make as much as they want. It's like, well,
but you do. But if you put it in rice on the table, and you'll see, like, nobody needs to be that rich. So how do you just make it a percentage and make it fair and say, "Look, guys, this is what's happening." So if you want to leave the country, go leave the country.
Yeah.
No problem. But we're going to tax you fairly moving forward. And guess what's going to happen? People are going to have healthcare. People are going to have roads built. People are going to have education. Like it's not like you can't suck the lower and middle class people. You can't suck anymore. And you can't cut out all these businesses or tax breaks this and loophole that. It's just like, come on, man.
Yeah,
and it's all
they're
bribery.
Really squeezing.
But this is what happens when it failed. This same thing was going on back in the day.
Sure.
Prior, that's the rise of authoritarianism, and people are like, these, and it's business connected. Authoritarianism is connected to big business.
Oh, you can't have one.
No,
you can't have
that's how they coalesce
business. Yeah.
and they fund it, and then they divide and conquer, and that has to be taken apart and then rebuilt, and that it'll happen again. So we will get through.
Sounds like a reset.
Jeez. Oh my God. Dude.
I did it, didn't I? I brought another one in.
Oh my God. We can't, we're now an hour and a half into this podcast. We're supposed to talk about coffee.
Oh, maybe we'll do a whole one on coffee talk or something.
We're going to do coffee talk next Wednesday.
Okay, if we can't find a guest. If Obama can't make it.
Yeah, we're going to try to get Obama next Wednesday, but we'll do that. But I still think this was a good podcast. We're not going to the Great Reset, okay? I refuse.
Okay,
I refuse.
But if you think about the words great,
yeah,
I mean, great. You can't argue with great.
No,
and
great
reset is what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
It just depends on
what your definition is.
Well, it depends on what
and
side of
resetting.
the fence you are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on the billionaire side, that's going to look real scary. If you're on the worker person side, it looks like an opportunity.
Wow, there needs to be a revolution for sure.
Hells yeah.
I am 100% for
Viva la revolution.
Yeah. And you do it with your choices in dollars.
Yeah.
Like, why are you supporting people that support these things? Like, if they're advocating for special treatment and tax cuts, stop buying from them.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, vote with your wallet.
Vote with your wallet.
Always.
They control everything. Like these protests against Tesla.
Yeah.
Like it at least somewhat smartened him up. Well, a little bit. Well, he just changed his narrative. Like these guys' choices are just crazy. Like you could just be a good person and have all the money, and then give all the money and still have all the money. Like you just live a great life, but you're choosing to. But it's the psychology of how they think.
Would I hear Bill Gates say he's going to give away like 99% of his money, and he still has multi-billion dollars still? It's like,
well, if you look at all those people that signed up for it, I just read another article, but who knows if it's real or not. But who said that of those people that originally pledged that, like literally like 10 or 15% actually did it, have done it. Like some of them are still alive. But
when it comes down to brass tacks, it's like even if you don't need the $120 billion, well, you might not want to give it away either. It might have to be wrestled away.
Well, it's got to be wrestled away, but it's about choices. Like everything that these people have were given to them. All the billionaires in the world. And that's why you look at Trump, he's never been a billionaire because he's never sold anything. Anything he's sold has gone bankrupt. Like you can't become a billionaire just owning real estate. Like it's just not possible because the margins you make in real estate are small. It's incremental, long-term, that's up. But if you sell a product, you can sell infinite billions of it, like Bezos and even Musk, but he got all his money from grants, but he's selling stuff, right? All these guys have made their money by selling stuff. So how do you can't be a billionaire without selling a product or something, in my opinion, right? So there's always a product at the back of it. So why are you allowing these people just to make infinite amount of money? Like why? Without proper taxation.
It is our issue. I mean, we can just stop buying things we don't need.
Then guess what's going to happen? Stop buying stuff you don't need, but also choosing who you're buying it from. Like obviously supporting local is key, keeping the money in your area. Yeah. But it forces these people to think differently. Because if people aren't buying them for this reason, that will change their behavior. Because they're profit motivated, they're money motivated. Absolutely. So if you just stop buying stuff from Amazon, all of a sudden you're going to see, Bezos is going to be like donating to this, donating to that. And we look at, I donated $100 million. It's 0.0001% of his money.
It sounds like so much.
Yeah,
to me.
Of course. Well, to anybody, you're like, he donated this. I'm like, guys, you're missing the whole plot.
Yeah, it's a tax
because he's building money on top of money on top of money. It's like the spread is going to get even bigger. Yeah, and who's suffering?
He's at this part of the hockey stick.
Well, you look at your roads and you look at all of it, and it's just like deteriorating. And how's it going to get back? It's only going to get back by proper taxation of people that actually have all the money. And you look at COVID, and all those billionaires doubled their thing within that. Like, do you think anybody else doubled their net worth?
Yeah. No.
Like, and the momentum builds, man.
It's not
not
slowing
slowing
down.
down.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Speaking of slowing down, you want to wrap this one
Yeah,
up?
let's wrap it up.
Let's slow this one down to a creepy crawl.
Yeah. Jamie's looking at us like, guys, stop talking, man. It's so funny because we came in to talk about so next week we're going to talk about the coffee.
Okay. Well, I'll come prepared next week then.
Yeah. Well, and I'll do some preparation too for once.
Right. All right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy it. The rain smells like fall out there.
I love it. Listen,
is
we
really
need
nice,
we need
isn't
water.
it? Oh,
Yeah.
do we ever? Yeah.
So bring on the rain.
All my plants are loving it.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Remember to be real kind.
I will. You be real nice.
Cheers, Sam. See you
Bye,
next week.
Calen.
Bread and Butter Collective's membership includes the following local businesses: 2% Jazz, Bunny's Kitchen, Buzz Coffee House, Eagle-Ite, Big Wheel Burger, Blue Mountain Solutions, Bodega Tapas Wine Bar, Eva Schnitzel House, Farmsgate Foods and Catering, Victoria Chocolate and Company, Drum Roaster Coffee, Habit Coffee, Foo Asian Street Food, the Culinary Arts Program at Camosun, Cafe Fantastico, Fall Epi, Harold Street Brewworks, Hey Happy, House of Botang, Nikkei Ramen Ya, Jenny Marie's Cracker Company, La Pasta, La Rue Patisserie, Mocha House, Part and Parcel, Poco a Pinto Bar, Pizzeria Prima Strada, Keating Pizza, Roast, Table 9 Consulting, Sherwood Cafe and Bar, Sweets by Selena, The Collective Wine Bar and Kitchen, The Drake, Tapa Bar, The Nimble Bar Company, Ruth and Dean, The Whole Beast, The Wienery, Spoon's Diner, Truffles-Inspired Catering, and Zambries.
To hear more from the Bread and Butter Collective, go to checknews.ca/podcasts on Check Plus, or find us on your favorite podcasting platform.